Hey guys, welcome to New York and welcome to Climate Week. We're here with BMW and MINI, of course, and there is a brand new premiere for the US, and that's the MINI Countryman all-electric, first ever. And to talk about the car, I have with me Kyle from Out of Spec. He focuses a lot on just EVs. So in this video, we're going to talk about the car, a little bit about the design, and of course about the electromobility aspect of the car. So with that being said, Kyle, tell me first of all, what do you like about the new Countryman?
Well, I'm a MINI.
First time you've seen it or second time?
This is the second time.
Right.
Saw it at IAA in Munich,
okay.
And yeah, huge MINI enthusiast for a long time. So whenever a new MINI product comes out, I'm want to know everything about it, and it's a car I've followed. My first car was actually a Countryman.
Really?
So
okay.
yeah, it's kind of cool to watch it progress, and it's interesting the path that they've taken. The new electric Countryman, because you have a lot of BMW following, is built on the same platform as the iX1. Mm-hmm. So underneath, it's called the FAAR, this FAR platform, and so yeah, it's very similar to that, just with a different top, if you will.
Okay. So before we talk about specs and all of that, let's maybe talk about how the car has changed for you, because now being an owner, you can see the new car. Tell me what you like about this one, specifically maybe size, design.
Yeah, well actually, I think the first generation R60 was pretty cool. That was a car that was built by Magna in Austria.
Yeah.
It was like such a weird hodgepodge of stuff. They brought it more in-house with F60, which was the current generation Countryman, a lot more BMW technology, their own platform, also similar to X1 underneath.
Yep.
And now we're in the third generation of Countryman, and it's called the U25, which is, it's so weird to call a MINI with a U in front of it. But ultimately, the design, I think, has gone back to be more fun, more playful. You can actually customize like the headlights, for example, and change the startup sequence. You have more color options, more trim options. Overall, the car has just gotten way more luxurious, way more high quality. I would say in certain trims, even nicer than the BMW counterpart.
Do you like the fact that he has grown in size, or you want it to stay maybe a little bit nimbler, smaller?
I think the US market, ultimately you'll hear the MINI enthusiast, yeah, anytime you change anything, it's gotten too big, you're ruining the brand. No, the bigger size is nice for sure. You can easily fit a dog in here. If you have kids, there's a lot more room. Let me just show everyone the back seat, if you don't mind, really quick.
Yeah.
So I have the key here, if you guys are curious. It's now a new upright key, the lock button in the center, 3 buttons on the side.
Design.
And just look at the legroom in this. I mean, the front seats are set to where a normal person will sit.
A lot more spacious for sure.
Yeah, so I'm not upset about the size.
It's similar in size to the X1. I remember looking at the specs. I think it's just a little bit shorter, but it's just as wide as the X1. Do you like the fact that the design is a lot more British than ever before? Like, honestly, I give them a compliment saying that this is really looks like a Range Rover, which is a compliment. Do you feel the same way, that it's good to have come towards that?
Yeah, so they've taken like a lot of the bumps and ridges and side scuttles off of this. So it's much more solid. If you look at the new Range Rover and Range Rover Sport, they're like carved of one, if you will. So this is the new style coming. Big contrast on the roof structure versus the body structure, high belt line, which is nice. And again, I'm just a reviewer like you, so this is all I'm picking up, but big boxy on the back. The styling to me is much better than the current generation and a lot better than the first generation. It's more fun, but it's also, in a sense, more high quality. Everything just seems to be a little bit more grown up. And yeah, I have no complaints about how it looks.
Yeah, I feel like overall it's a lot more premium than before. I mean, actually the same thing with the previous X1. The complaints were always that it's not maybe premium enough for the price. Same thing with the Countryman, and I feel like this one it's really stepped up quite a bit. Let's see the cargo space maybe, right? Because I guess that's equally important, right? I mean, I don't remember the exact specs in liters or cubic feet, but I know it's grown quite a bit. Of course, because it's a BEV, right? You're losing some of the cargo space. I can see already the battery pack being a little bit higher right here, so I'm assuming.
They're actually, so I was just talking to Vikash, who's the product planner for this car, and he was saying, and I'm not sure if they made this compromise because they have an electric version now, but there's no change to the body structure, electric or combustion.
So you're getting the same cargo space in both?
Identical, the hump in the middle is the same. Like there's
BMW
no
is
difference.
actually the opposite. You're actually losing a little bit of the cargo space.
Totally, and you'll see sometimes the plug-in hybrids have that higher bet. Nothing here like that. What's interesting is this particular car is also a version that's not coming to the US. Because
this is the base model, right?
This is the Countryman E, which is just front-wheel drive.
Gotcha.
I don't know the power figures offhand.
So I think like base 204,
Okay.
I think HP, and I think the SC is about 313, 314.
That's
HP
more power
basically.
than any MINI up to this point, other than a GP,
I mean, it
right?
should be the most powerful right now, actually, basically. I don't know if the MINI Cooper gets the same drivetrain or not. I don't remember that.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, this probably be the most powerful. I know they don't have the EPA ratings yet, but I guess, do you know the European ones?
Yeah, it's like mid to high 200s. I think the EPA is going to be low. I think that's the hardest thing for this car is like, my biggest issues with it, we know Minis are expensive. They've always been really expensive for the size. And we know it's got a 64-ish kilowatt hour battery pack that's usable. It's not going to be the most efficient thing because it's a brick. So the range in the EPA cycle, we don't know what cycle they're running. It's going to just be cresting 200, which is not enough.
WLTP, they said
260, right?
268, I guess 260 something for the SE and 286 for the E. But of course, that's being generous on the WLTP.
You never get
different cycle.
You have to drive like 50 miles an hour constant to hit WLTP, and again, what's interesting is you don't lose that much range with the SE with the extra motor. It's because they use, I believe, dual induction motors on this one, like the iX, like i4. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting to see how it does in the EPA cycle. But I got to tell you, if Mini's launching this car in the US, it has to hit 200 miles EPA. It's just a mental barrier, especially because we know it's going to be a premium price.
Sure. And you mentioned efficiency. Basically, what I was impressed by actually with this car compared to the previous one, the coefficient drag dropped from 0.31 to 0.26.
Huge drop.
That's huge. It might not sound like a lot, but in terms of aerodynamics, it's a lot.
Yeah, massive.
So it should be fairly efficient. But then, of course, you're dealing with also the Gen 5 technology from BMW, which is not the most efficient. But there is another rumor actually going on. I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently this one will eventually go on Neue Klasse as well. So newer tech, newer platform. Of course, it's so far down the road, but one day. So before we close this out, you want to take a look at the interior maybe from the front?
Let's do that. I think the passenger side will be the best. On the way, I just want to tell your viewers a little bit about the charging capabilities, if you don't mind.
Forgot about that. That's equally important,
So we just got confirmed for the first time that this will have a 48 amp onboard charger for the US. It's 22 kilowatt in Europe as an option, or maybe even as standard. But we'll have 9.6 or 10 kilowatts in the US. We only have single split phase, so we can't get as much AC power as the Euro spec. And then 130-ish kilowatt DC power peak. And what's cool is this does have on-route battery preconditioning like i4, like iX. It has route planning as well. Not sure if it will have plug and charge. Mini isn't sure actually, so hopefully so.
So for the non-nerdy crowd, tell me in terms of time they will take to charge on AC and DC as well.
The AC is totally fine. You'll be full every morning, and it's actually quicker than most cars in this class. So 10 kilowatts, it's probably on average for a normal commute, it's only going to be charging for 2 to 3 hours. If you go 0 to 100%, which you never really do in real life, it might take 8 hours, something like this, or even 7 hours. But the thing is, Mini recommends you don't charge this vehicle to full every day, just like BMWs. They have an 80% daily recommendation, and then you can bump it to 100 if you need to.
And DC charging?
Yeah, it's too slow in my opinion. The 130 kilowatts isn't great, and as you know, and maybe as some of your viewers understand as well, the power is not just one number, because if it changes throughout the charging cycle, and BMW's always been pretty good about holding a high power for a long time, and so I'm hoping you're going to see your average stops around 25 or 30 minutes in this car.
From like 10 to 80 or 0 to 80?
Yeah, 10 to 80, something like this, maybe 35 minutes. But if you compare it to other competitors like Ioniq 5, which is a similar size, you're well under 20 minutes to do that same thing, and that's, the charging performance here I think is one of the weaker points.
All right, so let's take a look inside and see what has changed here. And tell me your first impressions, or second impressions right now.
Yeah, well, first of all, the material is the first thing that stands out to me. They use this new Veskin material, which we haven't seen from BMW yet, is my understanding, and it feels like, I don't know, merino leather, if you will. It's a really fine grain, high quality material on the seat, but it's also completely animal free. And the steering wheel, Mini used to offer something called the Mini Yours steering wheel, which is the Rolls-Royce leather-wrapped wheel. That is now completely leather-free as well, but it feels amazing. So I'm really impressed with that.
We'll take a look inside, see what it
the
looks
seat
like.
materials are cool, and this is the base car that we're looking at here. This is the entry-level trim. It has fabric on the seat, has the Veskin in the center, really nice high-quality perforation pattern and other things. I mean, this is an expensive interior to produce, so I'm really impressed this is the base trim.
And I guess what's interesting also the knitted fabric that's available on the dashboard, and of course on the doors as well. And my understanding is that you can customize that in different colors.
Yes,
You know,
it
so that's
depends on the
quite
trim.
unique. Yeah, and then it also has a couple of straps inside, one on the steering wheel with that. But yeah, I mean, we'll show you the screen actually, how it's actually functioning in real life through B-roll. It's an OLED screen, so that's quite impressive actually seeing it in a car like this, because even BMW doesn't have any OLEDs.
It's
which
pretty
is,
fascinating.
Yeah, it's high quality, and my understanding was that also cutting that screen in a circular thing, it's not the easiest thing with OLED. So that's very exciting, and it's also using operating system 9, which is the latest one that BMW has as well. So
yeah, my final thoughts on the car are like what Mini needs to do is it needs to be priced really well, because there are some disadvantages from the charging performance, the range we already know, and it needs to be extremely high quality, which they've already proven that they're going to. They have this favored trim that's so nice. So let's just hope they can price it well. That's my biggest concern.
Gotcha. Well, Kyle, thank you so much. In case you guys don't follow Kyle, you should. He's kind of the expert when it comes to electromobility and all of that. I always learn a lot of things from you, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hell yeah, sorry.